You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's R&B Divas After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's R&B Divas After Show.
It's that new mix. Late night love song.
No. You never heard that before.
We're listening to, that's a new single by Meelah. Meelah Williams called Give It To You, featuring her fiance, baby daddy, Music Soul Child. What do you guys
Are they
think?
still getting married?
I don't know, but
you like fiance? I'm like,
at one point I think they were engaged, but now she just refers to them as, you know, they have a kid together.
My
So what do you
baby
guys
daddy.
think? What do you guys think about the new single, Give It To? Well, at least all the divas are coming out with new music. KeKe has something
Slowly
out,
but surely.
so they're slowly but surely. So
OMG.
you know that was Meelah's new song. But anyway, we want to thank you guys for tuning in here to AfterBuzz TV for R&B Divas Atlanta Season 3, Episode 4. I'm your host, Bamm Ericsen, and please introduce yourself.
I'm Alfred Nolan Thomas II.
and I'm Larice Peoples.
Okay, so what did you guys think about last night's episode?
A lot going on. There's a lot going on now.
Everybody has their own story, kind of, sort of, ish.
Yeah.
Which is better than
And
no
they trying to
fighting.
intermingle some of the stories together with the relationships. So I think overall, last night was definitely probably one of the better episodes this season thus far.
Wait. We were playing slow music in the beginning, but why is you still got that? Can you bring it up? Stop talking like that. There ain't no chicks in here.
I want to let everybody know I did.
There's
know,
Marissa. Hey, girl.
it's this sexy voice on the mic.
Hi,
right
guys.
All right, let's get it.
Okay, so Monifa, she went with the surgery for liposuction. What are your thoughts?
I thought this is an amazing way to get people back in the gym. I was like, man, just seeing that whole process, seeing what she went through. First off, if you are going to take this route in changing your life or doing things to your body, it's not really changing your life, but doing things to your body, the best thing that I think the show represented, and definitely Monifa, was the fact that if you are going to do something surgical, then you should study what you're doing. I mean, you could see that she was well-researched, and she had her support system, and they talked about it. There was the proper steps if you are going to decide to go that route. There's a right and a wrong way to even do that, and I would at least give her kudos for doing that. Although I didn't necessarily agree with it, and after seeing that pain and seeing her scream the Lord's name out, even though she had all that sedative, I was
What
like,
the Lord have to do with the...
that pain, that was like a modern-day whooping. Oh, Lord, oh, Lord, oh, Lord.
I mean, did you not see the way it was like stabbing?
No.
It looks real bad.
I get that they were stabbing her, but I just don't think the Lord has... You made that decision to do...
You know, it's the thing about people feel like when they call on the Lord, it's always like, Lord, help me, please. And they just feel like automatically it's going to like, yo, the only person name, I can't be like, oh, like Therese, oh, like Monifa, oh, like. You have to feel like the one name that everybody can call in unison and nobody can say anything about it or feel any different about it is the Lord name. Why? She called it out because she knew what she was getting into. She could have been, I would have been like, oh, milk, oh, like Snickers, oh, Kit Kats, like something different.
You said milk, Snickers, or Kit Kat. Well, she had the surgery. It was successful, and
She's leaking.
Yeah, she's leaking, and we didn't see her again until the concert, which we'll discuss. But I'm assuming some time had passed since then, and she was supposed to, I think. Is it you rest for 2 weeks or not sit or something, right?
Yeah. My thing is this right here about surgery, especially a surgery like that. One thing people have to realize about surgery when you have liposuction or when you have when the type of surgery she have, you have to kind of treat yourself as if it's like something traumatic because one, you want to kind of make sure you're changing your eating habit. You want to start working out because people don't realize you take fat from one area of your body, it's only going to basically displace in another area of your body. So even though she took it out of her stomach, again, she continued her same eating habits, not exercising. She can get fatter. She can get fatter in the face. She can get fatter on her back. She can get fatter on her leg. Cause all it does is detaches the fat from the muscle. But again, it's fat. Fat gonna basically like regrow itself like any. It's like a fungus. It's gonna regrow itself and displace on other parts of the body.
When I saw her at the concert or the charity event for Meelah, I didn't. Are you supposed to? Is there supposed to be a difference? Do you see an immediate change when someone does liposuction?
The thing about liposuction also, you have to look at it. Your skin is looser, so you have to go work out. You know, because liposuction is pretty much like, oh, I'm taking the fat away, unless you basically have like a plastic surgeon who's going to basically cut your skin away to help basically tighten up the rest of your body. If you don't, you still have that loose skin upon your body. You're just basically taking, I just kind of took fat out of my arm, but my arm's still the same size. So that again, that's one of those things. Like I said, is that if you're gonna basically do liposuction or go a surgery or whatever medical surgery to help you lose weight, you also have to go to the gym, work out, change your eating habit, and be more consistent and more healthy about your life. It just don't happen like, oh, I had the procedure and then I'm gonna look good. No, it's like it's still a process, and that's why I encourage people who think about having liposuction or any type of medical surgery to be smaller or to lose weight, go to the gym. Spend that time because eventually you still going to have to go to the gym and work out and do the same routine. But you just spent $10,000 on a surgery where you could have spent $5,000 on a training for 2 or 3 months and eat healthy for 2 or 3 months and get the same results, but you look better.
Yeah. Sometimes it is just eating better and changing your lifestyle rather than thinking you got to commit yourself to like a program right away.
Well, I saw her last week or the week before when she did the real life topics for on Wendy Williams. I didn't see a major change. I'm just saying. So anyway, KeKe and Lorna do family therapy. So what do you guys think about that? So KeKe brought her mom. They talked to the doctor, and KeKe expressed to the doctor that there's not a day that goes by where she could be doing just the littlest things where she's sewing something and the needle breaks and then she just breaks out and she just starts going ballistic and she starts cursing. KeKe doesn't like it and feels that it puts an effect on, on the family, and her response was that she feels that KeKe is the sole provider of the house and that she should not have to do anything, and she doesn't want her to live her life focusing on her kids, which for me was two separate issues.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, I think overall, I just think her mom has a lot of anger, hatred built up in herself. So something as simple as, oh, the needle pop and you go like lose your mind and cursing and ranting and raving, that means you have a lot of internal mental hurt and pain amongst yourself that you really at least need to talk to somebody about. And first of all, you have to acknowledge that you have these issues. And again, I think we kind of touched on this last week, where you really have to acknowledge your issues and accept your issues first before you be able to change them. And I think what it is with her mom, she really don't see that she has a problem. And going to this therapy, yes, it may help, but again, she has to acknowledge and accept her problems in order to move past her problems. And the whole issue like, oh, KeKe is a provider, she shouldn't have to do nothing for her family. She's a mom. No matter how much she's a provider, she's still going to be a mom. She's still going to be a woman, and she's still going to be a person like, I need to take care of my house in a certain way. Even though my mom is here, but still, yet, mom, you're supposed to be a helpmate, not stress me out more so than like, okay, you're here to help me, not to stress me out.
I thought it was good. Definitely, it seemed like it was one of those things where we should go do this. Oh, as soon as they got through the door, it's like, oh, this is going so great. We do it so much better. I think it was like a little not real in the sense of they were only there an hour. They ended up alluding to, which means that I think that they think it's a good idea. And you know how you get that, oh, I just did a hike. I feel great about myself today. But the real process of working out and making yourself better is like, I'm training now, I'm sore, and I'm really going through the body pains.
Yeah.
I think that, with that particular therapist, I didn't hear anything that made me feel like she was really touching on anything. So I'm hoping to see progression, and they definitely need to put more time, which is weird because when it comes to like those, we go to therapists, it's not like easy to pay for type deal. I mean, you with KeKe, so it may be straight for them, but for those people who do need therapy, I think that's something you got to weigh into your life. And luckily, they have that ability, but they're gonna need more time than just an hour.
Well, one thing that I'll say about KeKe, because on one side, KeKe doesn't have room to talk because she curses and she says all kind of things in front of her kids. So you know, she doesn't really have the right in a sense. But then on the other side, she does acknowledge her issue. I mean, if you look at KeKe from season 1, yes, she may have flipped out with that whole thing with Monifa, but the fact that she's recognizing that them as a family as a whole need to have family therapy says a whole lot. So for that,
yeah,
good for them.
Again, it's, like I said, it's just one of those issues where people have to recognize their issue and being able to accept it. And like KeKe says, she's like, yeah, I know that, you know, she knows that she has problems, you know, but again, it's just like, how do you deal with those problems? And like her problems probably more now because her mom's in the house and her moms have these issues. Her mom's negative, so what ends up happening when you have a negative person in your house, it affects you. It's like a chain reaction to whereas that it affects you, affects your mood, affects your kids, it affects everything around you. So I think like if her mom is willing to really accept it and go to therapy, maybe like once a week, twice a week, whatever it takes, I think KeKe mood might actually change and she won't be as aggressive in the house and cursing in the house and, you know, just being cuckoo the way she is.
Yeah, but I do like the steps that they're taking, and I also think that they need to take the whole family. The whole family needs to do family therapy together, and then they need to do it separately. I'm no doctor, but that's just my opinion about that. Speaking of mother-daughter, let's talk about Angie and Diamond.
Interesting.
Why
I think she's
that?
trying to pull stuff like Angie's one of them women who I think she gets off on like masterminding things. I think bringing her daughter in on the meeting was an interesting situation. I think even her way of going about working with her daughter on music is interesting, how she likes to place herself in these positions, which, I mean, granted, she's Angie Stone, so I don't want to discredit that, but at the same time, it's just weird when you see somebody trying to be in there rather than it just naturally being there.
I mean, but you got to look at it. It's the music industry, and a lot of times that's what happens because you have to look at a lot of, you know, writers and producers and managers who have children who come up behind them and they try to place them into certain situations like you should go to the studio and try to do a track with this person. And a lot of times it do not work out because, again, they don't have the talent or, you know, they lose the interest because it's being forced. And it's not only in the music industry. It's like if you have your own company, if you want your descendants to basically to run your company and stuff, and it's like, no, I don't want to run a company. I'd rather be a chef or I'd rather be an artist or I'd rather be something else than run your company. It's like you're forcing them into doing this and you're trying to manipulate everything around them to make sure that they go in the direction that you want them to go into instead of like, okay, you know what? I'm going to do this free willingly. If I'm successful at it, I'll be successful at it. But, you know, with Angie, she's like, I'm going to make sure my daughter be a diva. She's a little diva in training. I'm going to make sure I put her in certain situations that people know that she has talent. And it's like, in the end, it can possibly backfire in it because I think even when she plays it in those situations, Angie's still going to have a say-so about everything she does. And I think she's going to basically, like, Dom's going to get fed up with it, and it's going to be like a situation between them.
I do want to back up because last week's episode it ended with KeKe walking out because Diamond, you know, just appeared in a business meeting, and so KeKe walks out, and
it was more like
she walked out, but the TVOne did a great job at making it seem like all hell was about to break loose. When in fact KeKe just walked over and just started playing drums to kind of lighten up the mood. So basically, the meeting was canceled and they just started having fun, and something great happened out of it. But Angie Stone was still out of pocket, and I'm wondering if someone's gonna call Angie out on it.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like she's trying to be helpful, so I think her heart's always in the right place, which gives it this weird kind of, I feel bad, because she really is trying to, you know, she has the right mindset of wanting the girls to come together. She has the right mindset of thinking that, you know, her daughter is in a good line to be exposed to the girls and it won't hurt anything. I mean, they haven't been able to focus on anything as of yet, but in the sense, you could tell how she's trying to put her perspective in on what's going on. I just think it's just helpful but hurtful at the same time.
I think Angie was very smart and strategic of how she came into R&B Divas because, you know, some of the other girls have come in a not so positive light. I think Angela strategically said, I'm going to go into this reality show. I'm going to, I'm going to come in as, this head mother who's always offering advice. I'm going to, be helpful and do certain things. And she's and the persona that she's giving is working for her. And I think she did the same thing to her daughter, where it was like, okay, this is a platform. Okay, now my daughter is trying to, do the whole singing thing. I'm going to find a way to bring her on so that now she can get the same exposure. But so I get what she's doing. It's just, for me, the way that she's going about doing it,
it's sneaky and conniving
and boring. Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
like
totally.
she's just like, oh, let me try to do this. It's just like her way of like, let me just kind of wither my way in here. And again, to her, it's like she's building a relationship with her daughter by utilizing, oh, if I put you here, it's going to make us have a better relationship. I want to see a moment of her and Diamond actually going out, spending time, mother, daughter, not just in the studio, but like really genuine, spending time with each other. And I think that shows a better relationship for a mother, daughter, even with any family member. Let's go out, let's do something. Take me out of the normal setting, because then it's just like you're just doing it because, okay, I know I do this, but I'm just gonna bring you along.
And another problem that kind of annoyed me with Angie is when she said, "Okay, I've been asked to sing the hook." Really, Angie? Were you really asked to sing the hook? But okay.
But she said she got the guy to deal, and that's why she was asked to sing the hook. I'm just like, okay, like you said, it's like, all right, you can sing, Angie,
but then again, Angie always can pull a young man. So
I mean
but
it's Angie style.
So. Then once she told Diamond that she's going to give her the hook to sing, Angie had to tell her, okay, well, this is how I'm thinking of singing. And then Angie had to give her take first. Like, your daughter could sing. She obviously has she's got the talent from you. So the artist had already given his take on the song.
Yeah.
So why didn't Angie just let the girl do what she felt rather than try to emulate what she's doing, but then put her spin on it? For me, that was just like, Angie, do you have to be in control of every damn thing? Really?
Yes, but I think it's because it's the difference between a producer who works with an artist compared to an artist working with an artist. I think Angie doesn't break down or step aside from herself and the vision of what she's accomplished or how she wants things to go to be in the directing position to help facilitate or just sit there and work with what Diamond's got rather than it being like, look at how I would do it and do your version of me.
I mean, but again, it's just one of those things that they would end up butting heads because, again, like Angie want to do things her way, but she want to kind of, okay, Diamond, you can be original, but think about your mother. That type of situation. And she's going to constantly critique her on the stuff that she does, her music. Even like when they was in the studio last week, what did she do? She critiqued her on everything, like, I would have did it like this. And it's going, again, it's one of those situations where it's going to backfire in her face. Her and Diamond going to fall out. And
what you guys think about the song? All right, well, that says it. Speaking of just music and things that you can watch on online, it reminds me of YouTube. So you guys make sure that you guys go to our YouTube page on AFTERBUZZ TV, and you guys can watch all the great shows that we have. You can rate, you can leave comments, you can share. So be sure you go to YouTube. Make sure that you go to YouTube. I'm sorry. Make sure that you guys go to YouTube, and then also don't forget that we have iTunes, where you can also go to our AFTERBUZZ TV page, and you guys could download. You guys can rate, subscribe, tell a friend. So don't forget iTunes and YouTube.
Man, you have a tongue twister.
I know.
YouTube.
Okay, wait, though. We should say something. In reference to the song, I thought out of all the music, I think, I don't understand why there isn't some kind of standard, I want to say. I think.
For who?
Well, I think just in general, I thought that particular song wasn't a good representation of what has been on the show before. So I don't want to bash it, but you could tell it was like a novice kind of working on it beat.
I mean, but it's just like one of those things. Here's a new artist. He has a new manager, new producer. Okay, Diamond, I'm going to do a favor for you. I'm going to let you sing on this right here instead of me because, again, Angie don't want to kind of discredit her name on something that, it's like, oh, well, this song is not that great, or for whatever it is.
I just
Whatever.
could have worked on it a little bit more and then put it on the show. I don't think it should have been that. It seemed like they just started doing it, and that probably what made it seem like, oh, compared to when usually they have something going on in the studio, it's something that's been worked on, it's something that's like developed, and probably something that you can hear, which is why you want to put your music on the show.
Because even with the artist himself, when he was kind of rapping, he just kind of like, yeah, you know.
And that content, what?
Yeah.
For all the stuff that she was saying to her daughter about cussing and stuff, I'm like, do you really hear what y'all singing about right now?
Yeah.
Right now?
Yeah.
Like right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's that.
I'd have to hear him as the artist more, because what I heard, it didn't seem like that. If that's all what the artist has to offer, then.
But I think, isn't he a producer, or he's an artist too?
I thought he was the artist.
He was the artist.
And so if that was the full 100% artist, then I'm not interested.
Episode 5, stay tuned.
Yeah. Well,
new artist, new music.
Yeah.
Diamond singing hook.
let's go into Meelah and LaTavia. So they went to Tasha Smith's acting class to do this workshop. And Tasha Smith is a very popular actress. She's very popular with the Tyler Perry movies. Mm-hmm. She was in Why Did I Get Married 1 and 2. She was in ATL as the mama.
Wonderful, beautiful.
The twins.
Yeah, there was another Daddy's Little Girl.
Yeah,
she was in that movie as well. But here in LA, majority of us know her as an acting coach, and so apparently she has an acting a school out in Atlanta as well. And so LaTavia and Meelah thought that it would be a good idea to, go to the acting class to just work on themselves. What did you guys think about that?
I think it's real amazing how when people go to acting class, they can really transition into like, being from their normal being to being almost like a puppet in a sense, because they kind of, when she's like, think about something that hurts you, and like all of a sudden, like,
I think it was, she called it taking a dump. And what they do is they think about their most critical time from the ages of 5 to 18, and then they are to talk to themselves and tell them that it's okay.
Okay, so this is how I felt. I thought, for looking at the show, I've grew up doing musical theater, so I've been exposed to a lot of theater. I have a degree in theater, a minor in journalism, so I've taken a lot of theater classes, and I've had my fair share of successes out here in Hollywood and whatnot.
Talk about my credentials.
But not to put it, but this is why I felt a certain way about the actor situation, because for me, I don't think that's what LaTavia necessarily needed as far as what she was trying to accomplish with her being a better singer or having some kind of stage presence. And I mean, not to say that it wasn't helpful, because in the long run as a artist, you need those moments, you need to touch those boundaries of yourself, you need to push past that stuff. But in the sense of getting ready for a show, I didn't really see that being as beneficial if she was with some kind of Aretha Franklin or something, taking some real like situations. I thought it put more baggage for her to have to deal with before she goes on and does the performance.
I mean,
I was like, I thought it was cool, but I mean, I don't think you necessarily have to dive into that world in order to become a better person. And that's what I had a problem with.
I mean, I definitely agree with you too, because you got to kind of look at it. Kind of touched a soft spot in her life, but again, this is a music show.
Exactly, that's not music, but it's like they dealing with these deep issues. I'm like, Can we get to what R&B Divas? Well, I don't want to say that's my own ideology of what I think the show should be about. So I try to step that aside and just take it for what it is. But I don't see enough industry R&B divaness, R&B music shows. There's so much other stuff being dove into that I'm getting.
I think the real issue is like with LaTavia, it should definitely be a point to where she started to feel more comfortable singing by actually practicing singing. If it was like a session where her and a couple of girls, okay, cool, let's just run some notes, let's just sing a little bit, to kind of get her more in that comfort zone instead of like, oh, let's just take a dump.
Let's go ahead and dump.
This my problem with this whole scene was
Tasha wasn't there.
no, Tasha wasn't there. The other, I guess, assistant or one of the coaches, her name was Rotunda. My problem with them attending this acting workshop, I'm only speaking for myself. I, Bamm Ericsen, have never gone to an acting workshop where I've had to go into a therapy session, because for me that's what it felt like, a therapy session. When I've gone to acting classes, you do improv type things, you study scenes, how to break things down. What we saw was her trying to Rotunda being a therapist.
That should have been KeKe and Lorna in there.
Yeah, I felt right. I felt that this was concocted by TVOne.
Man, just to see stuff.
Because
I guess, like, really, I don't mean to cut you off. I've heard a couple, friends from experience, they've taken acting class like this, where it really kind of brings out, like, that inner side of them, where the teacher wants them to cry, to feel different emotion, so that they can basically do different scenes and stuff. So I've heard of it actually happen for people who really trying to be actors. But for somebody who's a singer and you're taking a class like this, I just think it was a waste of time.
I totally think it was a waste of time.
A lot to deal with.
Meelah's issue was, her growing up as a child, being dark skinned, and she thought that she wasn't pretty. That was her issue. And then LaTavia's issue was the whole thing at 9 years old. She told her mom that she was molested, and that her mom didn't believe it. And then it went on, and 5 years went by. So they both had very, very serious issues. Yeah. But their problems for the acting workshop, I thought that it was going to be a class. They've done, Tasha Smith was on America's Next Top Model some seasons ago, where she had them all doing all kind of like, improv and some other type things to kind of get them to emote different personalities for when they're posing for the camera. It's the same thing as singers. You are, in essence, a character. When you see Michael Jackson, he had the, well, I can't do Michael's voice, but you know how he had the nice soft voice and he was very nice and monotone, but when he gets on stage, he's a beast, or he was a beast. So I was expecting that. I just
it was disappointing.
Yeah, very. And so then LaTavia goes and she meets with her mom.
But wait, and then after she took it through all that, she tried to make a sing.
Yeah,
I said, what? I was like, how? I don't get how you thought that was gonna make sense. Although, like I said, if this is a long journey and we are just, she's in the class and there's like you said, you go through good emotions as well as bad emotions. Life takes you through all kinds of circles. So I don't knock the exercise, but the timing of the exercise and what they wanted their goal to be as far as helping her go into the direction of being a strong, diva and performer, I think that was like mad baggage, and it showed. You saw her shell up, and
she was like, "You want me to sing right now after I just finished crying? Like, you can't sing." So I mean, could you have, after dealing with whatever issue that you potentially had, and then like, "All right, Black, I need you to sing"?
I mean, if I wasn't LaTavia, yeah. But I'm saying that she's not. And I'm again, when we had the whole thing of why is she on the show, but I get why she's on the show because of the history of her girl group and she's pretty and stuff like that. But at the same time, she doesn't have the mentality of a diva. There's a mentality of a performer. There's an essence. There's a sense of readiness that should be there just naturally. If it's not, then there's other jobs within the entertainment industry that you could do. She should be like somebody's manager. Probably be better for her than being an actual songstress.
Can we go back to the whole diva in training? I meant to say this about Andy Stone. Listen, this whole diva thing is really wearing on my nerves because, the original definition of a diva is an opera singer. Then it became this whole thing where they became these attitudes and these bitches. Yeah. And now they're trying to take it back and, we're R&B divas, we're singers. You can't be a diva in training. You have to build up your resume. You have to have albums and singles and other things, and you have to build. You can't make somebody a diva in training. You have to make them an artist in training before you can make a diva. And I agree. Mother Stone,
I agree. I'm not even going to say anything. This is what I'm going to say about LaTavia. That whole session that she had with the acting class, she should have just went to therapy. She should have went with KeKe and her mom. Just talk it out.
Yeah. Okay, so then LaTavia goes...
But the therapist had the personality of what should have been in the acting class. And the acting class should have been... So they should have switched that too. So then it would have been right. They would have been able to get the real issues out, and then they would have been able to have a great time to build her confidence. I think what LaTavia needs is more positive reinforcement and not necessarily deal with her. She doesn't come with baggage that need to be dealt with. Although that's there and that's real life, and I don't want to take away from how important it was and good that she was able to sit down with her mom, talk about it, and the way they reacted. Because, I mean, no one's perfect, and if they're in your family, something goes down, it can be so crazy that they may not believe it. It's like saying there's aliens in the house all of a sudden, and then if it's really true, it may take somebody some time to deal with that, and that's a human nature situation. She wasn't against her daughter. It wasn't like she didn't eventually believe, but it was good to see LaTavia understand her mother's perspective and become a stronger person instead of being a victim and unknowing. I felt a strong sense of empowerment, which, again, was just something she had to deal with. Now is probably make her a happier person, but I don't think that's going to make her any confident of a singer.
My thing is, why it took for her all these years to feel like, you know what, I need to address this issue.
You know, the issue could have been addressed, but for the sake of TV and her backstory, you know, that's something that could have been rehashed. And I thought about that too, because that scene
in the acting class was a setup.
The scene with LaTavia and her mom. It was so slow, and how LaTavia was speaking, I don't know. It kind of. I'm just saying. It kind of dragged on. But, you know, sometimes things happen in people's families and it goes on for years and secrets. And, I mean, sometimes that's just the way that it happens. So it's very possible that she could have waited.
Yeah, my thing to every situation is that even though when things happen to you, tragic, you have to kind of sort of accept it. You never forget it, but you have to kind of forgive yourself in the situation of it in order to move on. And that's the thing that even talking to her mom, she still have to forgive herself because, again, she had no control of it. She really couldn't do it. She did what she could possibly do as a child growing up, even though her mother did not believe her. But she had to kind of forgive her mom, forgive herself, and like put it past her and move on in life.
Agree. And so,
I'm a therapist.
And so the last thing that we're gonna discuss is Meelah had this big performance that she was asked to do.
Big? I don't know if you call that big performance. It was a performance. You know, it was charity.
First of all, let's talk about her and the choreographer. Why is that?
Well, I was
for her to have a choreographer, she do not one lick of dancing.
Well, let me just
Why they always got the same dance though? Yeah. I don't look to the side and let's move and let's move. Well, like seriously, I'm like, come on, let's get some better choreography. I know you're a solo artist.
To be doing that.
She was just like, let's move with the one hand, like, all right, I got this. I'm about to whip it. Come on.
Well,
I'm just saying.
Meelah and her friend Tiffany Murphy, they were talking, and she asked if she would perform for this thing that they were having for first annual toy drive. So she goes and Meelah agrees that she's gonna do it. Then Meelah now is at a shopping mall with her assistant Edic and her stylist or someone, Rico.
That was interesting.
Now,
Rico was a diva.
Yeah,
Rico was a diva.
Meelah is interesting because when she's around her real friends, she's totally different than what she is when she's with the divas.
Yes,
she's very cocky. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. She's very cocky. She seemed like she's ready to just be the next big thing.
Yeah.
But it's I'm glad you brought it up because she slightly has a weird tinge on it to where, I mean, I like a confident chick. I like a feisty chick. And nothing's wrong with that. But at the same time, you know when someone's just a little bit too much and then all of a sudden you realize you couldn't deal with their personality long term.
Yeah.
Like she's starting to come off like she has that in her. Which then she has the sweet moment, so I think that makes me deal with it a little bit more. But every now and then this little monster pops up, and I'm like,
she's arrogant. She's an arrogant person, and she really feels. And I think she really feels like people owe her.
Yeah,
that type of mindset.
I think that's why she took that backup singing thing the way she did for Macy Gray.
Yeah,
I think she was really like salty about it.
I mean, but
of course, pay the bills.
Just imagine if you were in a group. You were popular, you had hits, and then after the group breaks up, then you have to go and sing backup for somebody. I mean,
Well, I
that does kind of hit you kind of hard a little bit.
Yeah, I understand embarrassment, and it takes humility to deal with that. But when it's like, oh, I'm better than this, and they ain't really fucking with me. That's what I hear in her heart, and that's when it's like, nah. You know what I mean? I don't mind confidence, and I have done things in my life where I had to take steps back and forth, so I can understand being like, oh man, I was trying to never do this again, but that's life, and that's what's real.
I think the thing about it with her is that she really don't deserve that arrogant and cockiness because again, nobody has really heard her sing in many years. And again, like you said, she has a new song that just came out, but I want to see her as an artist perform. Like, when you start performing, get people to vibe with you like that and people to love your music again, then you can kind of have that arrogance and cocky right now. Right now, baby, you got training wheels on. You gotta restart this ride all over again.
Slow that down, baby.
I agree. And now going to the choreography thing again.
You ain't coming with nothing.
Yeah.
You chilling.
Listen, like, seriously, there was that 1-2 step, shoulder back, and let's just walk with it. Walk and roll. It's just like, come on, like, if you're a diva, you were like, no, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna do my best. Even when she did the performance, it was just kind of like.
Let's back up. So when she goes to do soundtrack with her manager Corey Taylor, who was also the manager on SWV's recent reality show, who they fired. Interesting.
Everybody need a job.
Yeah, well, all right. And so they're at soundcheck, and she noticed that the mic has a cord, and she was like, I don't do chords. That's old school.
Diva.
And then Corey told her that you're not gonna get what you're used to getting. Now this is my problem where I'm Team Meelah. As a manager, you are supposed to find all those things out before. Now, mind you, yes, she hasn't been. Well, actually, she's really never been a solo artist because after 702 broke up, I don't think her deal. So she's not really a solo artist yet, but she does have. She has a name, and the manager Corey should have had all those things ready so that when they get to the venue, she should be well aware that number one, you're going to be singing with the mic that has a cord. The acoustics are not a certain way. Like the manager, Corey should have let her know all those things before they got to the venue.
But I will say this too. It just seemed like, I don't know, if I'm doing, I would imagine if I'm doing a charity event, unless, with the way it came through her choreographer, dancer, I think that she should have been a little bit forgiving-ish. Having a chorus shouldn't have moved her that much. I mean, from the looks of it, looked like Corey was handling the levels and all that stuff, and that was probably more ridiculous than it should have been.
Yeah.
I don't think he should have been the person there. There should have been somebody. But that goes to however that certain charity event was set up. So, I mean, I can understand her having a way about thinking about it, but I mean, that's just the buckle up and, tie up your shoestrings and let's get it type
Again,
situation. What you call it?
It is a charity event that you're doing for your friend. It is in Atlanta, Georgia. How many sponsors you really think she has? How big is her charity, first of all? And what type of quality that you think you're going to have? Look at the venue. You're not going to get A-list quality, not even. And for her to even act like that, you should be glad that somebody actually gave you an opportunity to actually come up, sing for people, because you kind of sort of got like
she hadn't been performing. So
Exactly.
It's like, you better get your practice off.
You kind of sort of got a crowd, maybe 150, 200 people. Okay, cool. I'm thankful for the opportunity. And again, she did a free show because she didn't get paid. It's a charity event. And it's like, okay, well, sing your song, girl. Sing your song.
Well, in the previews after last week's episode, TVOne again gave this big illusion that when she's performing, it was this big deal. She's singing "Where My Girls At," and then she puts the mic out, and then the divas are sitting there looking like there's you hear nothing but crickets. And damn TV1, so we watch it.
It's the editors.
Yeah, why are y'all doing that? It makes no sense.
Yeah, it really does not. But the show it was great. She they only showed her performing "Where My Girls."
Yeah, I thought she could have sang better.
I wasn't talking about vocally, but I'm just saying as far as an overall performance, the crowd was in it. They were singing back. The audience feedback. She was even like, you know, where my divas at. The divas was singing.
Yeah.
So for me, it feels like an overall great performance. Now, vocally, you think it's just okay?
I thought it was cool. I mean, like there wasn't nothing. But like I said, that's exactly why it was like a practice show. I don't think people were expecting much, and like I said, with the crowd participation, that's dope. That she can feel that the people respond and still connect with her and everything she's done. But I mean, that wasn't like, I don't know why she was with her choreographer. She could have just showed up.
It was, and the stage was so small.
Yeah,
it was like middle, step, point. Step, point.
I mean, but this is my thing. For her to really make that big fuss about, oh, you know, turn the highs up, and you know, I need a cordless mic. You would think that she would have went out there and really sing like
Janet Jackson
10 years ago, like you know, when she was really singing in the group and she really performing and everybody really loving it. But she just kind of sing like, okay, let me get a mic, and I'm not enthused about it. But it's like any opportunity that you have, you're supposed to take advantage of it, and you know, sing your at least 90% of your best.
Yeah, like KeKe said, you know, they could hear that the sound was not so great, but KeKe was like, you got to go out there and you have to do what you have to do. It was either KeKe or Selena. I mean, you know, again, the cordless mic, it was. You know, that was a big deal, but as far as like sound and levels and things like that, that is important. But you know, if you could sing, just go out there and sing.
Just go out and she could have practiced her choreography with that cord in her hand and just whip it back. And she's like, yeah, I got that. Yeah,
roll.
Hey, roll.
Let's go to news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Okay, so ironically, Alfred and I, we were talking about R&B. We were talking about Hollywood Divas on our way here to the AfterBuzz set, and there's some people that we know. So there's a show called Hollywood Divas that apparently they're taping right now, and Todd Tucker, who is now the husband of Candy Burris from Atlanta the Housewives, he's actually producing the show. And the women who are on Hollywood Divas is Golden Brooks from Girlfriends, Countess Vaughn from the Parkers, and Elise Neal, my friend from the Hewleys, and Paula J. Parker from The Hustler and Friday. My favorite part when she was like, you remember the part Friday? She was like, you ain't got the lie, Craig. You ain't got the lie, Craig.
Yeah.
She did it on that part. So anyway, apparently they were filming, and then Nikki Gilbert, who is the co-creator and executive producer of the R&B Divas franchise, she's planning to sue TVOne network for a breach of contract, fraudulent and misrepresentation, and a slew of other citations because she believes that Hollywood Divas concept is much similar to the concept of her show that she created, which is R&B Divas. And Gilbert's production company, Nia No-Go Entertainment, released a statement announcing that the producer plans to take the network and Think Factory Media into court and file a lawsuit against them on today, May 15th. What are your thoughts on that?
Man, there's so many reality TV shows being done right now. I don't think that's valid.
I mean, again, it's like
that horse has been beaten over and over again.
But it's all actors.
Yeah.
It's not people who are actually in the music industry who's trying to rejuvenate the career as of both R&B divas that you see Atlanta and LA. It's just like, okay, well, if you can say that, you might say they copy Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. It just Love and Hip Hop Atlanta is a little more ratchet, and it's like, oh, now they more classy women. But again, it's the same concept that goes around and around in reality TV.
I'm gonna disagree with you both, Larice and Alfred. I'm disagreeing with you too because it's one thing if the show had a different name and it had a little more spin to it, but I'm sorry, this is a straight ripoff. So rather than have R&B diva singers, now you're gonna do Hollywood actresses and you're gonna call it Hollywood Divas. I think Todd's production should have been a little more creative in how they wanted to make the show their own. So I think Nikki has a valid point, and she should. I don't think that the show should stop. She needs to be a part of the production as far as an EP so she can get her check.
First of all, if she did not patent the name Divas. First of all, that name could be put on anything. And the fact that, I mean, just being real about the whole situation. Again, it's a reality TV show. She don't own the name Divas, and you got to kind of look at all the other shows out there.
But it's also on TVOne. I mean, it's
don't
R&B Divas, Hollywood Divas, all on the same network. I mean,
they just trying to keep up with the same type. You gotta also look at it. It's the same type of crowd, the same type of quality.
It's Burger King, McDonald's.
Exactly.
Nikki Gilbert, I'm on your side.
Nope.
Well,
Homer Simpson
Trying to eat off other people's table.
Nope. You know what I'm saying?
Let's go on to predictions.
Oh, snap.
She ain't gonna win that.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Well, so for next week's episode, Angie Stone's fiance Ashanti is throwing Angie a birthday party, and he wants to have the Divas come sing. Angie think that's maybe not a good idea because they never listen to her when she comes to them about bringing them together to sing.
What? What is the whole show about? The whole show they gonna do together? Whether it's her birthday party or the show that they're typically trying to put together. See, here's go Angie Stone. She didn't create it. She don't want no part of it. Come on, Angie, you're killing me here.
Well, they sorry, I was.
That's okay, Angie.
The Clippers are losing. Sorry, I had to go there.
Go Heat!
Yeah. So
we chilling.
So the party's in full effect. We see, and Angie calls out LaTavia to come up and sing. Out of pocket, Angie. You already know how that woman is.
She had a
having
whole
problems,
discussion,
and she calls her out of place. But we'll see.
It's about to be drama.
Yeah, totally.
Hey, I mean, this episode is actually pretty good. Nobody really got into it.
Mm-hmm.
Like next week is really gonna be like it's gonna be an issue, and I think
I'm
all the
telling you.
divas gonna have an issue with Angie.
No, my prediction is that LaTavia is gonna be ousted for not being a real singer. I mean, there's only so many times you can say no. You said no for the acting class. You should have been practicing. So by the time the other thing came up, you could eventually say yes.
I agree with that. You can only say no so many times.
Yeah.
Sorry, LaTavia.
All right.
It's on record.
Hashtag sad face.
Hashtag practice. Hashtag.
Hashtag sad
Vocal lessons. All right, let's
No more acting class.
We're gonna wrap up. We want to thank you guys for tuning in to another episode here on AfterBuzz TV for R&B Divas Season 3 Atlanta. I'm Bamm Ericsen. You can find me on social media at Bamm Ericsen.
Alfred Nolan Thomas II. You can find me at All Eyes on Black.
And you can find Larice Peoples at True Peoples, TruePeoples.
Thank you guys for watching. See you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Let's see that.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.